Yeah, no, it's not there. My pleasure. I'm so confused right now. Am I live? It says I'm live. It says I'm live. There we go. Share the link. I'll share it everywhere. Bam! Sharing it there. Bam! Sharing it there. Everybody's welcome. Bam! Sharing it all over the place. That almost sounded inappropriate. There's no one standing there. Devil never cry, my boy. You may always. It's because they can't write it. That's all. That's really all it is. Anything. That's the problem. They can't write characters who aren't Goku. Pretty much. Yeah. That. Welcome to Dragon Ball. See, here's the thing. Even in Krillin's case, it's one of those things where he's more comic relief than almost anything else. He's supposed to be kind of like the everyman kind of person, but they don't really give him, outside of that. That's about it. Oh, yeah. I believe that. Yeah, no, they like to kill Yamcha too. It's terrible. Man doesn't deserve it. Hey, quick question for you guys. Hold on, I'll forward this. To, are you participating in the taco bar tomorrow, Kels? Yeah, for Abby's, wedding party thingy I think we're doing at the meeting. What am I looking for? No, I know. Let me see here. Copy text. I think it's during the meeting. I sure hope so. I don't know. It may be after then. I don't know when they're planning on having it. It's probably after. It's probably at around lunchtime. Why? Oh yeah, yeah. In that case, yeah. I thought you just meant whoever you're using. Yeah, you can't change everybody's in the moment. It's like you have to be on a mission with that person to change it. And once you change it, it'll stay changed until the next time. Yeah, you decide to go in and access it. But yeah, I don't know. Dre, did you want to participate in the Moe's stuff? For all right, I'll say. Did you see the text message I just sent out, Dre? Yeah, yeah. All right. I said no. I will. Oh, now she's calling. Hold up.
They see how they are. All those damn dragons that do that. Like, why do you have so many?
What? Say again?
Now you see why they're five things lost. Because they have too many damn dragons.
Yeah.
Where did he get so many?
He went through the same process Loxus had to go through. You know how they said that Loxus was frail? They implanted a dragon's movement or whatever that thing is into him. That's why he became a dragon. It's okay. You can say all those things. Because I mean, either way, I would cover the rest, even if they don't participate. I have no problem. Not to mention I'm fine. But I already know that Andre and Tracy are definitely good to go anyway. I'm fairly certain Jeremy will do it too. So yeah.
I still don't know what Taco Bar dance I'm doing.
You said it's at Moe's.
Gotta go to Moe's.
I knew you was gonna do something wild.
Yeah.
How'd you do something with it?
Sounds good to me. Yep.
Uh-oh, Agnologia. God, I can't say his name.
Agnologia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Not a problem.
Wait, did he just kill him?
Yes.
Agnologia killed him, slam like that?
Yes, Aganolia is a monster. You don't mess with Aganolia.
Okay.
So he went and whooped all them saints' asses, and he just came through and just...
Right,
Jesus.
I'm done. And like I said, you think Aganolia is a problem. When do you see Earth's mom? Earth's mom is a damn problem.
Sounds good.
That's great.
No problem. See you in the
Like, I looked up and he was on the ground bleeding.
Are you talking about the one that Colin recommended, or for my friend? I haven't just yet, only because I want to look over it real fast first and maybe tweak it slightly. But yeah. But I know there might be slightly more time when it comes to my friend, because I was thinking the AV thing, and I know it's a little bit further out, but I will get it to you as soon as I can. Yep. Okay.
He's all yours. But don't let it become a habit. Win, Dante! Win!
Dante.
All this time, and you still don't get it.
It is you who does not understand. It has begun.
What's happening? Bad news! Gotta go now! That houseplant is pissed off!
The cloud fog is revealed in its entirety. This inconvenience matters not.
Yo. Yo. Man, our boss can really talk, can't she? I was. Yep. So, I'm doing everything in my power to be a reasonable manager, but I'm not very good at this. But of course, I have both of you here, so I would like to say this. Something I think we've already kind of known, but, hold up. I go back and forth with this because I feel confident about Dre. I feel confident about the mission support specialist position, but my fear is so many other little things that I feared for a while and different things. But the key thing that has me worried now is we've talked about it before, the whole notion of Dre and helping the team, and it's not Dre's responsibility to bring them up. It's not. And I know that, and Lonnie knows that too, but it's also one of those things where we don't want the team to feel like there's no point in going to Dre because Dre will be short with us, or he won't go super in depth with us, or Dre has like a lock on everything or how things work, so we don't want them feeling like, why go to Dre when it feels like Dre is always doing X, Y, and the third, even though, you know what I mean? It's like where it's easier for them to speak to somebody like Raina or Jeremy because they'll take them more, how do I put it, step by step, and then yeah. And that part alone would probably be fine. The secondary side of that has been, I love you two to death, but you two are super close, and everyone knows it. And I don't mean that from the standpoint of you guys are friends. I mean the standpoint of the amount of time that Dre spends back there in the cube with you all. Even though it's lessened now, it's still something that's completely and totally on the table with everybody on Lonnie's team, contractors and feds. So it's one of those things where it's like, Dre being back there would be alright, except for the fact that Dre should be at the front desk. And sometimes he is helping with things. And I think the pushback that Lonnie gives is, if Dre's helping Kelly with something, that's fine, but Kelly doesn't need to be in the queue, but Dre does need to be at the front desk. So if Kelly's at the front desk with Dre, that's one thing, but for Dre to leave the front desk and be gone for periods of time with Kelly, then it becomes a different story. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think that's kind of where Lonnie's head is. Now, granted, I spoke to all of that. I mentioned, obviously, when Dre was back there, why that's the case. But it becomes that politics game. It becomes that complex nature of, we can't just, she doesn't want it to ever seem like it's favoritism, but in going that route, it could easily look that way, and she doesn't want that to be the case. However, that said, that's also why she's planning on actually sitting down with the people and interviewing and talking to each person one-on-one, so it's not one of those things where it's just like, I'm just giving it to these people. Yeah, because there's a lot. I know you guys are doing a lot. Yeah. 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 Oh no. Oh yeah, no. I know. And that's why that was something else I said too. It's like people will mention things. I'm like, these are things in the past. They're not still happening. I understand the concerns in the moment, but these aren't. But at the same time, I can only fight so hard for Dre because I personally am too close to Dre, and I don't want it to seem like I'm. You know what I mean? All I can do is fight to the best of my ability, but I can't go above and beyond because then it's like, well, he's your friend, yada yada. And I don't think Lonnie would pin that on me or say that I'm doing that as long as I don't say something super outlandish. But yeah.
No one's supposed to wear?
Yes. 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 I don't know what the other side of the fence is really honestly thinking or feeling at this point, because I can't tell. I don't know. I imagine as time rolls on. No, it's not the initiative. It's the fact that you have a priority to the front. And the problem is, in learning, that's one thing, and that's okay. But there's a lot of time beyond just the learning that you have spent back there. Now, granted, it hasn't so much happened this much recently, but it's still. But see, here's the thing. You could be doing your work up front, and that's where you should be doing your work. That's why the whole notion of priorities come into play, where learning and trying to take the initiative is fine, but at the behest of you stepping away from what priority number one is. And see, but see, here's the thing about that. Well, go ahead, Kelly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. And again, this isn't to say that in any way you are outside of the running, because the truth is you are still the number one person that anybody can even rely on anything to say. But it also means that these are the things that most likely when you meet with Lonnie, she will want to address with you and talk to you about and make sure you understand. Because the idea is, at the end of the day, being a team player is one of those things where, how do I put it? Let me put it to you like this. Let's say AJ, for example. Let's assume a member of the government staff hated AJ with all of their heart. I don't think there's anybody who necessarily falls into that category, but let's say there was. At the end of the day, there shouldn't be any level of, well, AJ needs help. Would I go as far for AJ as I would for somebody else? Like, nobody on the PME side should think, when it comes to you, that you wouldn't go that far for them. Here's the thing about that. You are not wrong. However, and I know you do this too, when you see them slipping up or you see them having a problem with something, you'll tell them. Granted, you'll tell them in that Dre way, which will probably be maybe slightly too harsh, but beyond that, I know you will talk to them. But the thing is, the largest problem that I have with all of this is that everyone holds on to the past way too long. I don't know how to hold on to the past. Everyone always likes to remember when things were a certain way, but not how things are now. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I never have. So I don't know how to address it when people do without looking at them like they're an idiot. And I'm like, why are we talking about yesterday when clearly things are different today? I mean, granted, I will say this though, and this is a key thing about human nature. All right, so say for example, let's say Chrissy for example. Let's think about Chrissy and Mose. If we saw Chrissy get Mose tomorrow, which, joke aside, because we are having Mose tomorrow. If we saw Chrissy have Mose tomorrow, in our minds, we'd be thinking, man, Chrissy, Mose all the time. Despite the fact that it might be the one and only time Chrissy gets Mose this week. But in our minds, because we are so used to it, that is the norm. Thus, Dre may only be back there periodically, possibly less than I'm back there. But the thing is, the minute they see Dre back there, it is like, there he is again. You know what I mean? And that's unfortunately the stigma that has been built now, unfortunately. Like, for example, there was a day, was it earlier this week, where I came by and Dre was in the cube by himself waiting for somebody to come. I didn't think anything. And see, that's the thing. But see, Dre, that's all perception. I wasn't thinking anything of it, but anybody else thinking about that, it's like a front desk member of the staff is sitting in one of the Fed's cubes when the Fed and the contractor who supports the Fed aren't there, and he's just sitting there at the thing. And it's like, it shouldn't all be about perception, but the problem is you have no choice but to always consider perception. It's the reason why it's the reason why the front desk, things like looking at your phone, things like how we're dressed, and us greeting people, all of it is perception. All of it ties back to, unfortunately, but it does. Yeah. No, I can. No. Yep. Yep. No. Yeah. Super. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yep. 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 I I Yeah. I will say this about Ron and Tracy, because there are certain things that it's a weird thing trying to figure out how to teach some of these people, because I sat down with Ron and Tracy, was it earlier this week or late last week, and I explained to them the concept of Dre and Jeremy, and I was like, listen, I know you all may feel like Dre and Jeremy do a lot more, or they have so much more on their plate, and I was like, they have those things because of them. Everything they do now, they took that initiative. I didn't teach Dre how to do these supplies. I don't know how Dre fully does the supplies. And I explained to them, Dre did this. Granted, he may have learned a lot of it from Kelly, but you know why he did? Because he asked her. And I told them this. And they looked confused. They almost looked surprised. I was like, this is how this works. And it's a weird environment, I know, but any and everything you see all of them doing, it's purely because they took that initiative. And I explained to them, that's why if it seems like Raina does less, it's only because Raina didn't go and try to figure out on her own. And I told them, all of you are welcome to ask the questions, talk to the people. That's what they're here for. Yeah. I will say, once I told them that, now that I think about it, that may have been actually when Tracy seemed to mildly turn around and start taking more initiative, because I think she starts to piece it together. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, enough with the suspense. What do you need?
No, I get that. They love the past. You can't do it, Dre. That's the sad part. There is no line in the... Well, see, here's the thing about that. I can't say for certain how much of this is some sort of new development or people living in the past, because that's the problem with all this. For all we know, no one has even said anything recently, but unfortunately, because of the past, people are still holding on to conversations they had from months ago, or things they were confused about from months ago, and thus in their minds it's still that way. I'm still thinking about the conversation I had earlier with somebody today, and I'm like, wait, how are you talking about this? I'm like, how is this the point of... anyway. Yep. That is this life. Yes. Yes, we are. Yep. Yep. Well, see... Yeah, and the other thing too, Dre, it's not about help so much when it comes to the front desk. It's about literally the reason we're there is to be there to cover it. Like, yeah. Going, yeah. Yeah. Yep. No. Yep. I don't blame you. Remember, Dre, you can't be petty when it comes to the front desk folk, because like I said, yeah. No, see, listen. I don't even bother when it comes to that one anymore. I'm like, look, I have no problem with you as a human being. I know that if I tell you to do something and I'm like right there with you, you'll get it done. And maybe even if I'm not right there with you, but I know that's literally the only way anything's getting done. I already know. So... Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it... Oh, the lunch thing. Oh, the lunch thing. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. the only thing I want you to take away from this, Dre, it's not even about them. There's a reason why at the end of every day, any and everything is always CYA. Because ultimately, you can trust people and still CYA. Because you know, any and everything that you do, whether it is necessarily going to be watched or isn't watched, you know there's a potential that it could be. That is the joy of being aware. Yeah. This is a safe space. No. Here's... Nope, that's true. Yeah. Yep. Yep. There's literally only one person. There's literally only one person in that whole place that, on the government side, that has never, ever, for the most part, maybe two, probably two, but let's just call it spade a spade. Tiffany is the greatest thing that ever happened. It's like, Tiffany, thank you, God.